to Echolink TECHLINK conference.
This is Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. My name is Gary. The Mississauga Amateur Radio Club net will start in 3 minutes. Any early check-ins?
VE3 GDZ, VE3 VHF.
Got you in there, VAJ. Thanks for checking in.
Check in on my net, it's only fair.
Okay, we're taking any early check-ins for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday night net. That will start in 2 minutes.
VE3 GDZ, VEC B2K here.
Got you in there, Dan. Feel free to come and go. We'll be starting in a minute or two.
I just wanted to do a signal check, make sure I was getting it okay. I can't always get this one cleanly. How do I sound?
Wow, better than the regular net.
Hey, well, I'll stand. Thanks again. ACS net controllers on his net already, Dan.
Good evening. This is Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. My name is Gary. I'm your controller tonight for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. This net's available on the club's VHF repeater and also on Echolink, starting at 20:30 hours EST, which is 1 hour, 30 minutes UTC. It's expected to last for about an hour. Please stand by. To participate in the net locally, you do so on the VE3MIS VHF repeater, 145.430 megahertz with negative 600 kilohertz offset and 103.5 hertz tone. To participate on Echolink, connect to the Techlink conference, node 9229, or one of the conferences that connect to Techlink. This means we all need to leave a space of a couple seconds for all the links to work when I ask for Echolink check-ins. The net not only spans Southern Ontario region by radio, but comes in on Echolink via Echolink, and we're also streaming it on YouTube. This can be useful to all of us, since when you've had your time sharing your news and views, you can go back and hear yourself and how you sound by replaying the YouTube video. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in VE3MIS, which is our repeater call sign, into the YouTube search field, and look for today's live feed. All nets are archived in the live stream playlist on the VE3MIS YouTube channel. Please stand by. If you'd like to find out more about the Mississauga Club, visit our website at www.marc.on.ca. The club's email address is ve3mis@rac.ca. That's Victor Echo 3, Mike India Sierra, at Romeo Alpha Charlie Charlie Alpha. My email is on my QRZ page. This is Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. My name is Gary, Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee. The purpose of this net is to share news and views on topics of the day with club members and amateur radio enthusiasts who are both local to Southern Ontario, Canada, or from far and wide. It also provides experience to volunteer operators in net and emergency operating procedures. All check-ins are welcome. We value participation from outside of our region highly and invite local hams who are non-members to join in too. Please stand by. Check-ins will alternate between the RF users and Echolink users. Please listen carefully for the group that best matches your circumstances. So what's the plan for tonight? Well, for me, I've got just a few club announcements. Then I'll record check-ins, alternating the type between radio check-ins into our repeater and Echolink. Short time check-ins, either urgent or mobile, will be called first, and then general check-ins will follow. Now, for those of you who are listening, when you're called, you're welcome to share any local news or activities, and then you have an option to take a crack at our 1-minute question of the day. I'll provide more information on that in just a moment. Assuming time permits, there'll be a brief second call out from the check-in list, and you can comment on what you've heard others say, or just say 7-3. And don't worry at all if you have to drop out earlier. I can run through the list quite quickly. Please stand by. First, just a few club news and announcements. For Echolink stations, we thank you for your patience. Our general meetings emphasize comradeship and learning and are open to guests and visitors alike. There'll be an Aries meeting on January 20th, and the next general meeting of the club is on January 27th at 7:30 p.m. local time, Eastern Standard Time. This meeting will be our annual quiz night, which is usually a lot of fun. More information on how to connect will be on our website. Please stand by. Okay, next on this repeater, all times are Eastern Standard Time in North America. First, for those of you that have fusion capability, there will be an RF link through our UHF repeater to the CQ Canada net at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. That's the CQ Canada Fusion net at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Tomorrow as well, there's a Cross Canada IRLP net every Wednesday starting at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. on this repeater, or from anywhere on IRLP 9013. And lastly, there's the Friday night Techlink net, hosted by our friend Reg from Western Australia. It's every Friday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on VE3MIS via Echolink 9229 or the Techlink conference. He's got an amazing number of contacts from around the world, so give it a try. Email for any deeper details on any of these is VE3MIS@rac.ca or check our club website, VE3MIS.ca. Please stand by. Okay, getting ready to get some check-ins here. The check-in protocol is as follows. This is a directed net. When checking in, please announce your call sign using phonetics, followed by your first name. Check-ins will be called in 4 groups. First, local, emergency, or high priority traffic. Mobile, alternating RF and echo links will follow. Check in with the group that best matches your circumstances. Hopefully we'll have time for a quick second round and you can comment on what others have said or just say 7-3. I'll be calling Echolink and RF check-ins separately to reduce the risk of doubling. Please leave a gap of a second or two since there might be many linked conferences to connect. Finally, try not to transmit for more than 1 minute to prevent system timeouts and allow others to check in and have their turn as well. You can actually say quite a bit in a minute and hopefully have a chance to comment at the end of the first round. Please stand by. Okay, let's get some check-ins down. I've got a couple already. Let's start with any emergency or high priority traffic. Nothing heard. Any mobile or short time traffic from anywhere? Okay, we'll pick up some regional RF traffic. Anyone who can get into the VE3MIS repeater on their radio. If you happen to be a Mark Club member, let us know. I already have Robert and Den down. I'll get back to you guys in a minute. Anyone else coming in on radio would like to check in to the Tuesday night Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Net.
Victor Echo 3, X-Ray Bravo Hotel, Brian.
Victor Alpha 3 Hotel Echo Sierra, Mark.
Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Bravo Foxtrot, Barry.
Okay, we'll hold it right there. I'm going to take some Echolink check-ins first. This is the Tuesday night Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Net. Before I do, I just wanted to explain where we are connecting from to those that are outside of our local region and who might be coming on Echolink. Mississauga in the province of Ontario is the 6th largest municipality in Canada. It's the western neighbor of Toronto, Canada's largest city, in the center of the Golden Horseshoe, a large urban and industrial region of 8 million people, spanning much of the northern and western shore of Lake Ontario, all the way down to Niagara Falls. Please stand by. Do we have any Echolink check-ins, please? Call sign and first name, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Hotel Golf Uniform, Bob, Central Texas. Short time.
Kilo Delta 4, Oscar Victor India, coming to you from Central Florida, around the Orlando area. Name is Pete, Papa Echo, Tango Echo, over.
Kilo 6 Kilo 2 Delta Yankee VK2GY. Roger, repeat it. November 4, Romeo, November Whiskey, Harold, Southwest Florida.
Yes, I take you, John, in Australia. Good afternoon. Okay, let me hold it right there. I'll go in the check-ins, and then I'll ask for more, and then I'll explain the question of the day. Okay, I've got VE3VAJ Robert, VE3BQK Den, VE3XBH Brian, VA3HES Mark, VE3WBS Barry, KF5HGU Bob, KD4 OVI Pete, BK2DY Robert, N4RNW Harold, and DK, I don't know what the number is, John, HJ2 John. Anybody else like to check in before we get to the question of it?
Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Zulu Alpha, Brian.
Okay, I got one more. We'll put that guy at the bottom of the list. Hi. That's where he belongs, right? Thanks for checking in there, Brian. Okay, well, the news and views is what we're after, and the question of the day. We had a big snowstorm here, so I'm sure some of the local guys will make a mention about that. Recovering now, finally, thank you. About, I guess, 40 to 50 centimeters in some locations. And the COVID situation is not yet getting any better. We're hoping it will in 2 weeks, but not yet. Okay, the question of the day. I usually try to have one to generate some discussion, and this time we're asking about what your top pet peeve is. What's the most irritating aspect of the amateur radio hobby that we all enjoy? I mean, you're here because we all enjoy it. The pros are better than the cons, but there's got to be something that irritates you, and I'm sure some people have a long list, but we don't want the really long list. So perhaps it's related to radios or antenna frustrations or costs, maybe regulations, on-air behaviors, the variability of propagation, the multitude of modes we seem to have in this hobby. Not looking for a long list. Please just mention maybe one or two that come to mind and why they really bug you. And remember, it's supposed to be a 1-minute question. And I don't want any lawsuits arising from this or any cussing, please. And just a warning, I may ask you what can be done about it. Or you may want to comment on what others say if you stick around for the second round. Okay, please stand by. I'm at the top of the list, so I'm just going to give you a fairly simple example. I always bug that Canada has VA and V3 call signs. I participated in a net this past weekend, and you're trying to pull out a faint station, and the guy says, oh, okay, you're from Canada. Okay, you're VE3 GDZ. I said, no, I'm VA3. A as in alpha, as in aardvark, as in Adam. And then the guy says, oh, you're Adam. No, I'm not Adam, I'm Gary. And so we go back and forth, and there's 2 call signs for Canada, and it bugs me. That's a very simple one, because people always get it wrong. Okay, I'm done my spiel. I got more at the end, but I want to hear from you guys. Robert, you're on deck. VE3VAJ. Let us know where you're from and any news, and take a crack at the question of the day. What's your top pet peeve?
GGZ, VE3VAJ. You had a short time station in there. I believe you should have picked that up first, but I'll take a stab at it because I am going to bow out after this anyways. But my pet peeve on radio, and it's been my pet peeve since I got licensed, was people activating a radio without a license. There are a number of them. We call them carps or jammers. my friend James, the late VE3 Echo Mike Tango, always said we could string them up with a rope. Unfortunately, that's illegal. But, what could be done about them, I don't know, because our industry sciences has very limited regulations of what they'll do with them. Anyways, that's it from me, Gary. I just wanted to give you a bean for your pot, because you always check into my net. I'm the ACS net control for Friday night on the VE3SKY system, so I figured I owed you one so I'm repaying a debt owed, so that's the only reason I'm here tonight. So 73's there, Gary, and have a good net, and I believe you should pick up your short time station that's from an experienced net controller. Have a good night and enjoy your net. VE3VAJ, QRT after your final.
Well, thank you very much there, Robert. That is a good one. Talk about irritating. We still tend to muddle through, but it would sure be nice if there was some way to enforce that. And those cheap Chinese radios, too, I don't think they help. Just about anybody can order one. Appreciate you checking in. Yep, you don't have to stick around if you have other things to do, and I know it's a busy night, so appreciate you joining us. You're right about that. I made a note here that Bob from Texas, he was short time. So let's go to KF5HGU. I wonder if Bob has any pet peeves related to the amateur radio hobby. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you getting me. I said the short time just because I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it around to the second round, but I was going to try to hang in as much as I could for now. So, pet peeves, golly, I do have some, and I've had a bunch over my, 10 years amateur radio. In fact, I've had 2 tenures in amateur radio. One many years ago, and the one most recent now. I really can't tell you what a pet peeve was, because I may have it today, but tomorrow the pet peeve will be different, and quite truthfully, I have a hard time remembering what the pet peeve for today was. So we just try to make it through the day. That's it. Take care. KF5HG, thank you very much for getting me in. Thank you very much for the net, and I always enjoy it. You got a good turnout this evening. 7-3, my friend.
Well, thank you very much for joining us there, Bob. Always a pleasure, as Red Shed tends to say. Always a pleasure. There's a satisfied amateur radio operator. No pet peeves. That's okay. That's an acceptable answer. Either that or you forget them and you move on to something else that cheeses you off. Right, Bob? Okay, thanks for that. Stick around as long as you can. I'll take a few more before asking if anybody else wants to join the check-in list. Next is Den, VE3BQK. How's it going, Den? And do you have any pet peeves?
GGZ, Gary, VE3BQK Den here, and you're sounding good tonight. And, following up on Robert's distaste for QRM, malicious QRM, is my resentment against Enterprise Science Innovation Science Enterprise, formerly Industry Canada, for being a non-regulator at all. I mean, we don't have a public regulatory capture here. We have a public regulatory abandon. I know the FCC jumps all over people making trouble on the air on the States. Here they don't seem to care one way or the other. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us there, Dan. Yeah, that's a fairly serious one. And it comes up, too, when you get all these people, spammers and whatever. There really is no enforcement, is there? That's a real challenge for the hobby. Other than that, if you have anything else that bugs you, let us know in the second round if you can stick around. Appreciate you joining us. Let's see if VE3XBH, anything new from Brian, or anything bug him about the ham radio hobby.
VA3 GDZ, VE3XBH. Well, actually, what my pet peeve is pretty much has already been mentioned. It's those who are either unlicensed or just trying to be malicious, and the fact that we're kind of left on our own to regulate it, and there seems to be no support in. You can find somebody who's doing it. You can locate them. You can get their name and address and everything, and still nothing seems to be done from the regulator. So I guess that would be my pet peeve. The other thing is just common courtesy on the band. Little things like before you tune up on a frequency, call to see if it's in use. Those kinds of things, it's possible it is in use and you can't hear the other person, but they might be able to hear you. So that's about it. Other than that, all is good here. Nice to hear everybody. Nice to hear Bob in there from Mesquite. And we'll just send it back to you, and I'll be listening along, Gary. VA3GDZ from VE3XPH.
Yeah, thank you for coming in there, Brian, with that. The malicious part, certainly, serious challenge, and common courtesy, and who's going to enforce it, too. Sometimes if you try to tactfully tell people that they're doing something inappropriate, could be on a net, like hogging. How about hogging the band or hogging the application and talking on and on and on and on and not leaving gaps and stuff like that? There's a lot of common courtesy, and it can get some people's back up, but we're all equal on ham radio, aren't we? I'm just going to see if anybody else, either on Echolink or radio, wants to check in or take a bit of a break before I work my way down the list. Any other check-ins for the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net, please call in now. Call sign phonetically and name.
Victor Kilo 6, Victor Kilo 6, Golf India Alpha, Peter, in Byford, Western Australia. Good morning.
And VE3, Juliet India Whiskey from South Etobicoke. My name is Jim, VE3JIW.
Echo 3, Whiskey Yankee Delta, Peter from Brampton.
VE3MIS.
Okay, we captured 3 more gentlemen there. Peter from Western Australia, Jim from Mississauga, we know him, that's for sure. One of our net controllers and a net manager this year. And Peter, VE3 WYD from Brampton. Thanks, guys. I've added you to the list. Going back to the top of the list here. Next is Mark, VA3HES. How's it going, Mark? And we have a question of the day. Do you have any pet peeves related to the amateur radio hobby? Tell us your top 1 or 2, please. Go ahead, Mark.
VA3GDZ and Group, Victor Alpha 3 Hotel Echo Sierra, Mark in Mississauga. Good evening, Gary, and to everyone on net. Yes, we're live on YouTube, so just go to YouTube, search for VE3MIS, and you'll see us live, and there is an archive of all our past nets. Before I get into the question, which I have 2, and they're actually really important ones, don't get mentioned enough, I'm happy to report that the VE3MIS club station did amazingly well. We shattered last year's score from the January VHF contest. I'm going to drop for 1 second. And a special thank you to Peter, VA3ELE, David Kingsland, VE3MDX, Hugh, VA3TO, and Ansel, which I can never remember. Ansel's got a 9Y call. I can never remember it. We nearly tripled our score from last year, so we did fantastic. I'll drop one more time. My two pet peeves in ham radio. One of them is the encroachment of commercial use on our spectrum. I don't know if anybody's read about this, but stock traders have taken to using HF frequencies to move trading data faster than fiber. So, we're kind of getting attacked at both ends of the spectrum now. So, I urge any of you, if you're not a RAC or RL member, please become one, because there are only chance at keeping Industry Canada or ISED, or whatever they're calling themselves these days, in line. And the other pet peeve is if you get your basic with advanced, they don't give you the option to remote operate a station. I'm going to drop. That unfortunately locks a lot of people out of using our club station remote. And I know there's a lot of hams that are now living in a retirement home or assisted living and have no way of having a rig, but with a laptop could easily work the bands. And as a club, I know there has been, via the executive, some steps taken towards RAC with this, but apparently it has fallen on deaf ears. All right, that's my 2 cents worth, Gary. Back to you.
Wow, thanks for that there, Mark. I had no idea about that commercial infringement on the amateur bands, and you're right, we have to defend them. Always seems to be a battle somewhere or another. Look at the fight for the cell phone spectrum, and the fact that the radio altimeters are in the middle, for airplanes, are in the middle of the 5G spectrum. My goodness, why did it take so long for them to figure that out? And yes, you guys did a terrific job on the VHS contest that we had, but you guys had like 1,000 watts. Like I started out on my handheld, which is 8 watts at best, gave up on that after a while, went to my base station, which is 50 watts, and then I hear you guys come in on VHF and UHF with like 1,000 watts, I think you said. I could pick you up on my blender. Couldn't get much else high. Anyway, thank you for that, Mark. Okay, Barry, VE3WBF, how are things going, and do you have a top pet peeve related to amateur radio? Go ahead, Barry.
Net Control, this is Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Bravo Foxtrot. I'm doing well. So far, nobody's talked about Monday's snowstorm, and we got 32 centimeters in the driveway. That doesn't include the big drift that piled up, and that I took as a snow day, and I've been shoveling for 2 days to get cleaned up great. I don't really have a pet peeve. I haven't been operating that long, so I haven't not something that irritated me. So, anyways, I'll take it back to the net. This is Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Bravo Foxtrot, over.
Well, thank you for being a regular check-in there, Barry. Yeah, that snowstorm, there were sure a lot of stories. The one that bothers me the most is people stuck on the main highway here, Highway 401, for about 8 to 12 hours because of jackknife tractor trailers that they couldn't budge. A lot of people had stories, but it was nice to meet all the neighbors. That's when you see them all, is when you're out pushing them out to the snowdrift or something. Oh, and so you're a happy new amateur with no complaints, right? Nothing that bugs you. Geez, I wonder why I have such a long list. Okay, thanks very much, Barry, for joining us. Okay, who's next? We got Bob. It's Pete, KD4OVI. I hope I got the call sign right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Net Control. This is Kilo Delta 4 Officer Victor India. Yeah, my thought is, and this is pertaining to licensing. I'm almost being a 20-year-old, being a tech, and the ARL is trying to push to the FCC to give the tech a little bit of breathing room on the HS side. Now, if you look at the band plan, there's some areas which the techs, if they want to participate in CW, can be on those HF frequencies. Now, ARL, in their wisdom, is trying to convert those CW band times for those which you can look it up in the band plan regions. And what I'm talking about is to convert those CW bands into audio radio phone deals there. And I'm hoping someday that the FCC will do that, because you get to a point where you're getting too old to take your general licensing, and the memory is not as sharp anymore. So these are the old guys which are text to entertain the thought of becoming a general. And I hope that the FCC will, in its wisdom, convert those CW bands into radiophone bands. Back to net control. Katie for Oscar Victoria.
Well, thank you for joining us, Pete. Pete's from Florida. Yeah, there's always seems to be some debate with the FCC, but at least the ARRL is behind it, and I would think that they should have some influence, so at least you have a path forward. And it somewhat relates to Mark's comment earlier, too, about challenges to the band, like just keeping the band for amateurs and keeping them in use. So there's a common theme there. Okay, so it's the regulations related to the CW band. Thank you for that, Pete. How about we go to Robert, DK2DY. We know where he is, but he can tell all of you guys. How's it going down there, Robert? You probably heard that we had a snowstorm here. I'm sure you guys don't care down in Australia. And do you have any pet peeves related to the amateur radio hobby that you'd like to mention?
Good afternoon. This is Robert, Victor Kilo 2, Delta Yankee in Kellyville Ridge, New South Wales, but all part of the urban sprawl that is Sydney. Well, it is just 20.1 degrees Celsius here, and when you get to Peter, you'll see what the difference is between the east side and the west side of Australia. It's pretty amazing, the temperature difference. But at any rate, it is raining and overcast, and just not a great day to go out. So I'm staying home, playing radio, playing computers, doing all sorts of stuff indoors. Other than that, it's interesting just trying to keep up on what's going on with Tonga. Apparently, they had two cables. They had redundancy, and both cables broke. So I guess they're trying to right now reestablish satellite communications. The satellite equipment that they had was in disuse because of the cable. So now they're trying to reestablish satellite communications. Interesting how quickly our communication systems seem to break down. But at any rate, other than that, pet peeves. Well, I would say that the whole licensing system in Australia is a pet peeve of mine. It's expensive, it's slow, and it's inefficient. People hear about people in the United States getting licensed and getting their call signs in a few days and all that sort of stuff. And here, people wait 4 weeks to learn the results of their exam. And then it's another 4, 6, 8 weeks to get a recommend for a license and actually get the license issued. So it's very slow and it's very expensive. It's like it's close to $200 to get a foundation license. So I think that would be my main pet peeve here is the Australian ham radio licensing system. VK2DY. Back to net.
Well, thank you there, Robert. Always a pleasure to have you join us. You always have some interesting news to say. Okay, licensing is your pet peeve, and you gave us the reasons why. Well, I'm not surprised. And Tonga, yeah, I've seen the pictures. The BBC has a few really good articles out showing Tonga. There's nothing left of the island where the volcano was, but the cities are just unrecognizable, covered in ash. And you wonder if their cables are broken. You wondered if any ham radio operators could get out. But it does show how important communication is, because we really don't know how desperate the people are for aid, and I think aid is taking a while to get to them. Okay, very interesting. Thanks for mentioning that. Brief pause here for any other check-ins to the Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Tuesday Night Net. Any other check-ins, please? Okay, none heard. I did see one on YouTube. Arnold, 9Y4NG. You can just type in if you want to be checked in, and you can also type in a comment if you have one about our question of the day. So I can see that you are listening in on YouTube. That's great. Okay, back to the list. Let's see. It's Harold's turn. N4RNW. How's it going, Harold? And do you have a pet peeve that you'd like to let us know?
Well, good evening, Gary, and those around the world. From the Eastern Time Zone, N4RNW in southwest Florida, Fort Myers. Golly, I can't think of any. The only thing I have trouble with is we're in a gated community, and it's kind of hard to hit the local repeaters with handhelds because we can't have outside antennas. That's really nothing. But with Echolink, that solves that, and that's real nice to be able to communicate all over the hemisphere and around the world. Just a side note, 2 days ago, we had 5 tornadoes amidst all thunderstorms go through the area here, and there was some heavy damage in certain areas of the city. Other than that, it's beautiful down here. This is the nicest time of the year in southwest Florida, clear skies. 50s, 60s, nice and dry. Everybody have a good night, a good day, and thanks for the opportunity. N4RNW.
Well, thank you very much for joining us there, Harold. Yeah, we saw the pictures of your tornadoes. You made the news up here as well. I'm glad you're safe. I think they have anchors on the mobile homes down there so you don't fly away when the tornado, or no, that's for hurricanes, I'm sorry. Isn't that funny how beautiful it is most of the time, and yet you can get, I think it's got the highest number of tornadoes of any state is Florida, and of course the hurricanes in the fall. Wow. And yeah, Floridians always rub it in. For those of us up here shoveling snow for 2 days, we had a real good dump. You probably saw it on the news. And Florida's not like that, but you've got other challenges. Antennas, I'm surprised other people haven't mentioned frustrations with antennas or connectors or anything. You're the first one to mention that, but you do have a way around it with Echolink and several other modes. How about HJQ, VK3 HJQ, John in Australia? Come on in. Anything new to share? And do you have a pet peeve you'd like to tell us? One more try for John HJQ. That guy is so busy all the time. Are you in there, John? Well, we'll get back to John later. We would appreciate him helping connect the ham radio conference and others. And if anybody new is listening in on the many Next, on the many conferences that are connected to ham, this is the Tuesday evening Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Net. My name is Gary, Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. Next on the list is VA3AZA Brian. You know the question, Brian. How's it been going? Did you get through the snowstorm? And do you have a pet peeve you'd like to make? One more try for Brian, VA3AZA. Well, I think he's out shoveling. Okay, Peter, VK6GIA. How's it going there in Western Australia? And do you have a pet peeve?
Yes, good day from Western Australia, VK6GIA. Peter here in the town of Byford, which is southeast of the city of Perth, where it's 10 minutes after 10 in the morning. And just sitting in the house trying to keep cool. Temperature outside already 100 degrees out there, going up another 10 degrees more by about 1400. Pet peeve. Yep, you mentioned earlier, firstly about 5G. I noted this morning that Emirates, the Far Eastern airline Emirates, has withdrawn services to many American cities due to this problem. And, isn't it really strange that they didn't do any homework on this before they introduced it? Quite amazing. Quick break. From VK6GIA, didn't want to time up there. The other one, over here in Australia, we pay, last year was $54 for our license. This year it's $55. I was of the belief that the Wireless Institute of Australia and the ACMA, the Australian Communications Media Authority, were doing a deal to either reduce or remove our fees altogether. You know, my peeve here is that why should people be carrying a radio around in the pocket and not get charged for license when we get charged for amateur radio? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But there you go. 100 degrees, I'm sitting here in shorts. Good day from WA.
Well, thank you for joining us there, Peter. Yeah, that 5G really bothers me. How many years have we known that 5G is coming? I did look up the frequencies. It's in the 4.5 gigahertz range, and right in the middle of that range are the radio altimeters on aircraft. And you're telling me nobody could figure that out until the day before it's supposed to start up? Unbelievable. I think that's a quote from Reg. Unbelievable. 100 degrees F going to 110. Wow. Maybe I could melt some of our snow, because we're right in the depths of winter right now. It's pretty funny. And it does sound like your licensing is quite different from many other jurisdictions for them to charge you that. Quite surprising. I don't think we pay at all. I just paid once. Okay, VE3JIW, Jim. Come on in, Jim. Anything new? And do you have a pet peeve that you'd like to mention to the group? Anything that really bugs you about the amateur radio hobby?
This is the VE3JIW. Well, I'm going to say two things that I think. The people that say, for ID purposes, and then they say the call sign. I think that's one thing that bothers me, is people who say for ID purposes and throw the call sign out. But the best thing I ever heard was, listen to the guy on HF, and he was saying, I really hate it when other people tell me how to run my radio. Your audio is too loud, your audio is too quiet. I thought that was the most interesting comment, how guy keys up his radio and other people want to tell him how to run his radio. And
you are an example of how to run a net. Because you don't even sound like, I mean, you're not authoritative or domineering on running a net and making everyone feel comfortable. So keep up the good work, and rah Radio Mississauga, keeping radio amateur radioactive in Mississauga. Take care. I'll be listening along.
Well, thank you very much for those comments there, Jim. Your audio is excellent today, by the way. Nice and clear and certainly loud enough. I thought people would appreciate it if you tell them that their audio is scratchy, if they have dropouts, if they're too loud, distorting, or if they're too quiet. I'm a kind of a novice at this, but I thought people would appreciate it. So some people get insulted that I'm telling them how to run their radio, eh? Okay, live and learn. Thank you for mentioning that. I didn't know. We have one more, and I'll go back to the people that I missed and ask for any other call-ins in just a moment. But let's get Peter in there. VE3WYD. Go ahead, Peter.
Hello, VA3GDZ Gary. This is VE3WYD. Pet peeves on the ham radio. I don't know. I think my major one is just contributing to the hobby and doing the hobby in the middle of COVID, because I got my license just before COVID hit. Let me drop. And a lot of ham radio is about getting together with other hams, seeing what they're doing, what kind of antennas they're using, what they're doing here, what they're doing there to make things work, how to run DX, low power, trying to get a handy-talkie to hit the repeater, things like that. Back to you, Gary.
Okay, Peter, thank you for joining us. And thanks for those comments. You're a happy camper. Boy, we got a lot of happy campers on here tonight. Everybody's satisfied, eh? I'm amazed at that. I'm going to throw one in now. Since I'm running a minute, I can throw one in. One of my pet peeves is there are so many different modes that you can get involved in. I know guys that are saying, oh, you have to have 4 or 5 radios, and you have to do both HF plus VHF, and oh, you got to try Peanut and Echo Link, and you better buy an All-Star node. So there you go. There's a pet peeve. And I'm a recently licensed amateur, so that's one of my reactions. Okay, I'm just trying to stir the pot here, guys. 2 people we missed. VK3HJQ. John, are you in there? Well, he gave us the check-in, but we lost him, and let's see if we got Brian back. VA3AZA Brian. I think he's still out shoveling snow. Okay, any other additional check-ins before we go back to the top for the commenting or 7-3 round? Any other check-ins for the Tuesday night Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Net?
Net Control, VK62Q, right here in Western Australia.
Control, this is Kilo Oscar 4, Oscar Whiskey Echo, KO40WE, Scott in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, we got 2 more in there. We got Red from Australia and Scott from Tennessee. Thanks for joining us, guys. Okay, over to you, Reg. I gave your net a plug at the beginning of this, Reg. Love the international aspects of it. But I would expect after more than 1,000 radio shows, you've probably got a pet peeve or 2. But you only have a minute. Over to you, Reg. How's it going? And do you have a top pet peeve related to our amateur radio hobby that we all love? Over to you, Reg.
Well, I have a response to your different modes and operations. You know, you're right. There are all sorts of modes and stuff to be experimenting with. But, you know, what I have found over the years, they all try to hook up to Echolink. I don't know what their problem really is, but that's my response to your situation. Pet peeves, yes. Well, I got a few, but I'm not going to mention it today. I'll be generous. I have received an email regards to a fellow listening to our Flying Pig Net Friday. He's in Jacksonville, Florida. He's part and parcel of the Southeast United States Emergency Communications Coordinator Dan Goodson. Now, they've got some missionaries apparently up on the island there that's in trouble, and he's asked for some help. So I got on the Echolink and started conferencing around the world. I got a hold of a fellow in Japan. He was quite informative, and he was trying to reach some folks that he knew on some of the islands. So we're doing some emergency work, which we should do in amateur radio. But they have their problem over there on the islands, that's for sure. Other than that, pet peeves, well, I won't get into them.
Okay there, Reg. You spared us a long list, I'm willing to bet. You can hear them some other time. Could you just clarify the islands? Are you talking about Tonga? Could you come back?
Yeah, QSL. Apparently the emergency services, they had some folks from the church and the missionaries are over on the island, and they were concerned. They haven't heard from them for a couple of days. I was able to reach a fellow up in Japan, and he was going to check in on things. But as the news and the media have mentioned, cables have been cut, things have been drenched. And there was an amateur club over there, but none of the amateurs are active. So as far as our amateurs on the islands of Tonga, why, they're next to none.
Roger that, Reg. We were talking about that a bit earlier with Robert, VK2DY. He mentioned both the cables are missing, and as you say, I was wondering if there's any ham radio operators that could fill that gap, but I've never heard anybody from there. Situation does not look very good, but at least they're trying to get some flights in there and some boats in there with supplies. Glad that you're trying to help, and hopefully the radio hobby can help. It is an emergency, and we've had quite a few volcanoes around the world, haven't we? I wonder if it's an abnormal number. Anyways, let's get down to Scott. KO4OW. I didn't get the last letter, but I know, Scott, you're in Tennessee. Please join us. Anything new? And if you would like to take a crack at the question of the day, I'm asking, do you have a top pet peeve related to our amateur radio hobby?
Net control, this is Kilo Oscar 4 Oscar Whiskey Echo, KO4OWE. Just think about owing money. Thank you for taking my check-in. Pet peeves, I don't know. I've only been a ham since the spring of last year, so not even a full year. I do love Echolink, and that's mostly what I've done, aside from the 2-meter 440 nets that we have locally here in Memphis, which are fairly limited. There's a simplex net, and got an antenna up, and got old VHF, UHF radio working, but even though I got my general license, I haven't done anything with HF, so I'm looking toward that. But anyway, on the pet peeves, the one thing that comes to mind, I bought a mobile radio for the car, a small one, Chinese model of some sort, and just trying to program it, so I got on YouTube, and I'm glad I did, because it turns out that some of the steps from the manual were not there, and you'd never get it programmed, and so a ham had put a video on there that showed exactly the 5 missing steps or whatever to get this thing programmed, and I've done it yet, but I did get the right video, I think, to get that done, and so I'm thankful for the YouTubers and stuff out there, all the help, and so yeah, that's the pet peeve, is just trying to get you know, I had a HT, got a HT, and got the mobile, and just trying to program them all, including the old Alinco that I got last year from a ham. He did Silent Key. His wife was selling the equipment. Well, I guess that's about it. I know I talked too long, and but yeah, I am loving Echolink in the phone, by the way. Thank you for taking my check-in, Gary. $73 and back to net control, and I'll be monitoring.
Well, thank you there, Scott. This is Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. The name's Gary for identification purposes. Yeah, YouTube, they cover just about everything on YouTube these days. Isn't that amazing, no matter what you have to do? And I have heard gripes from people trying to program the DMR radios in particular. They love it, but to get them programmed and then you move to a different location and you program it again, I guess that's a pet peeve or a gripe. But overall, I think we got a pretty happy bunch of amateur radio operators here. Complaints are obviously about people who are spamming or infringing on the amateur radio frequencies and the licensing in some cases. I didn't hear too many equipment complaints. And how come I got so many? Oh, I guess I better have a future topic about what's great about ham radio. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the top now. This is the 7-3 round starting. At the end, I'll ask if there are any late check-ins. And I'm just going to use suffixes to be quick to run down the list. If you'd like to make a quick comment on what you've heard today, or just say 7-3, that's great. First one is VE3VAJ Robert. Are you with us? How about BQK Ben? XBH Brian.
VA3 GDZ, VXH. Gary, I really don't have much more else to say. I have been a mention. I decided on the 7-3 round. I'd come through the VA3 RCI repeater that's located on the CN Tower. They are connected via Echolink to the net. So just wanted to give that a try for my buddy Steve. And other than that, nothing else. I'll send it back to you. VA3 GDZ from VE3XH.
Okay, Brian, thank you for joining us this evening. It was a strong signal from the RCI, I think you said it was, a repeater. You sound a little more echoey than you did before, but that's okay because this is Echolink. Oh, geez, bad joke. Okay, Mark, HES, 7-3.
VA3 GTZ and group, VA3 HES, 7-3 Gary and all on net. Great net tonight. Some very interesting things brought up. Some food for thought. 7-3 and catch you next week. Back to you, Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, and thanks for running it on YouTube. As I mentioned earlier, anybody who wants to hear themselves, go to YouTube, type in VE3MIS with today's date, and you can hear what you sound like on the radio. Okay, WBF, Barry, 7-3 round. Any comments? Over to you.
Net control, this is VE3WBF. Nothing more from me other than to wish everybody a good evening. And stay safe. This is VE3WBF, over.
Okay, Barry, thank you for joining us and for being a regular. Bob from Texas, HGU, you said you were short time. Just want to see if you're still there, if you have anything to say. Okay, moving on to OVI, Pete from Florida, 7-3 round. Over to you, Pete.
No doubt the Flash, Victor. That's a fine net tonight. I enjoyed it. It's a really nice commentary about our hobby, and I hope that it grows. destroying them. A lot of people are testing off-site. That helped a little bit. People are starting to get the point. Be communicative in your community. 84 Oscar Victor. 73, God bless. Toodaloo, best of goodbyes.
Okay there, Pete, in sunny and warm Florida. We're all jealous up here in Canada. Hi. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'm glad you enjoyed the net. VK2DY, Robert, 73.
Good afternoon again. This is Robert, VK2DY, 21.2 degrees Celsius. I was just doing some searching around. The problem with Australia, the proposal that was made in Australia was that we go from an apparatus license to a class license. And the whole issues that surround that, the devil is in the details. How do you police it? How do you license it? How do you handle a class-based license system instead of an apparatus license? And I think that's why it's been so delayed, is because there's a lot of arguments as to how exactly to implement that. So that's what's going on here. Assuming we do get a class-based license at some point, that should reduce the fees to nothing or near nothing. But we shall see if that ever actually happens. Anyway, 73 y'all, UK2DY, back to net.
As always, thank you for joining us, Robert. You always have some insights for us. Yeah, that might solve your problem. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So make sure the proposals are pushed by your local groups there. And thanks for mentioning Congo, you and Reg, because, yeah, that's been in the news for sure. Harold, N4RNW, any final comments for the net or your 7.3?
Yeah, Gary. I'll jump in here and say good night to everybody. Come to think of it, I did have a dog once, and his name was Peeve. So I guess I did have a pet peeve. And with that, everybody have a good night, good day over there in Australia. And this is N4RNW.
Okay, Harold. We know who to call if we have a bad joke night. Hi. Thank you for joining us. Let's see if John is in there. I saw that he was back in the chat. VK3HJQ. We didn't get you the first time there, John. Do you want to mention any pet peeves or say 7.3s to the...
VK3HJQ. Yeah, sorry, I had talked to the technical fellows on. Went to go down and get something for lunch. I just went down the street and got some munchies. Pet peeves. What do you mean? You mean pet peeves in amateur radio?
Yes, sir. That's the topic. Anything that you find irritating, even after all this time you spent. Do you find anything irritating about the hobby?
I reckon the hobby's pretty good. I mean, a lot of the tech's gone out of it. I suppose that's what really irritates me. That there's no technical stuff in it anymore. Like, it's so easy to get a license now. You basically get it out of the cereal box. So I think my pet peeve is bring back a bit of tech into amateur radio. How about that?
Okay, John. Thanks for throwing that idea out there. And that reminds me of another one. You guys keep reminding me of pet peeves. The questions on the license, they didn't really bear with what I was doing with it. So you memorize something and you give it back to them and you get your license. So it wasn't highly relevant, I guess, would be one of my pet peeves. But thanks for bringing up that subject. Let's see if Brian, VA3AZA, is finished shoveling his driveway and wants to join us for the 7.3 round. Are you in there, Brian, VA3AZA? Nothing heard. heard. Well, we got them to check in, but we lost them. Peter, VK6GIA, 7-3 round. Over to you, sir. Nothing heard from Peter. How about Jim, VE3JIW? Any comments on what you've heard tonight, Jim? And your 7-3s. Over to you, Jim.
Well, very good. I'm just, okay, checking my mic. Yeah, I'm low. It's funny about this. After about a half a minute, I can hit 0. Anyway, no, pet peeves are what I realized that we all love this shit. It's amateur radio hobby. It's funny. You talk to somebody, and some people, they want to impress you about, they'll tell you everything they know about a subject. And then other people, you have to drag it out of them because they're not trying to impress anybody. But the biggest lesson I learned in amateur radio was we all love this shit, and we just express it in different ways. But keep on loving radio in Mississauga, and 73 all. It's been fun, and it's going to continue to be fun. The VE3JIW for ID purposes.
For ID purposes. That's a good one there, Jim. Anyways, nice and clear, a great signal tonight there, Jim. And good point. Yeah, we're here because it is fun, isn't it? It's a challenge, and it's fun, and we get to meet some great people. Okay, enough of that. This is supposed to be Pet Peeve Minute. Hi. How about Peter, VE3WYD? Any final comments for the net, Peter?
Hello, Gary and everyone on net this evening. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for doing the net. It was very interesting conversations this evening about our hobby, and it was fun to participate in this evening's net. So I'm pretty happy with everything, just trying to learn more about the hobby. So I was really hoping COVID will be over soon so we can get together and do club activities. Back to you, but I also might mention that I had fun participating in the VHF UHF contest. I helped make a few contacts for some people. So back to you, Gary, and it's 73.
Well, great to have you join us there, Peter. Excuse me. And yeah, when we have our happy nets, we'll definitely call on you. It's nice to hear somebody that's got nothing but compliments for the hobby. And yeah, it is fun. The COVID thing, I'm glad nobody mentioned that. That's a distraction. Let's get back together. Let's have ham fests and field days and get together in person and have some drinks and nosh and stuff like that. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Anyways, I'm off topic here. Who's keeping me under control? Oh, not the next guy, Reg. VK6BQQ. If you're still in there, Reg, anything for the final round?
The 3 Golf Delta Zulu VK6BQQ. I don't know whether you're watching the screen or not, but you got a WB6, a Zulu Yankee, Shelley. You had a Y or a Victor Yankee 1 Mike Golf Sierra in there. His name was Mick. And for the portable folks, find that microphone on the front. Talk sideways into it. It gets rid of the lisping. Also, if you have problems in the shack and you can't get out to a repeater, try a crossband repeater. Well, it's actually an in-band repeater, and it consists of a piece of cable. So if you're not familiar with a antenna like that, why, give it a try. Other than that, good night, sir. And that's all we have for now. Listen in on Friday night. We'll have some excitement. VK6BQQ Australia. Good morning.
I just missed the call after me. The gentleman that came in after me, I missed his call, and I just like to keep all these new calls in my mind. The E3JIW after me.
Okay, Jim, I heard you in there. After you was VE3, Victor Echo 3, Whiskey Yankee Delta, Peter, WYD. Yeah, okay there, Reg. If anybody else wants to check in, I'm going to give them an opportunity in a moment, but if they just want to listen, that's fine with me too. I know you like to hold people off there sometimes, like shooting a fish in a barrel. I think that's the expression they say. Anyways, we'll see who else to check in just a minute. I just want to finish off on the net here with Scott, OWE from Tennessee. Any final comments on what you've heard this evening, Scott? Or say your 7-3s, and then I'll finish up by asking if there's any late check. One more try for Scott, K04 OWE.
VE3 GDZ K04OWE. Hi there, Gary. The repeater was ID, and I think I got caught on that. I'm sorry. Let's see. Pet peeves. One more I thought of. Don't have too many, really. Just loving all this stuff, like everybody's saying, and enjoying it. But there's just not enough repeaters around here for the most part, and especially with All-Star Note or Echo Link, that kind of thing. I don't know. I guess it's just there's a local club I'm a member of, and they do a great job with an Echo Link on one of the repeaters, but then they don't use it that much, and they took into another one. So I don't know. That I was liking that for a while, but in the Simplex net here is on Echo Link too, so that helps a little bit. But we need more of that. Otherwise, nothing here. I'll just say my 7-3s here, and I do like the YouTube. I'm on there now, so I can see this and listen to everybody again, and thank y'all for that. VA3 GDZ K04 OWE, back to net control, and 7-3, everybody.
I really appreciate having you join us there, Scott, from Tennessee. And yeah, the YouTube's great because you can hear yourself, like how you're coming in. So it's always good to hear it from the other side, so to speak. Okay, I didn't see that Arnold from Trinidad, 9Y4NG, I didn't see anything from him on YouTube. So I'll ask if there's any new check-ins coming in. We're wrapping up the Tuesday night Mississauga Amateur Radio Club net. My call sign Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu. The name's Gary. Any final check-ins?
Victor Alpha 3?
Victor Alpha 3, Papa Lima Juliet.
Victor Yankee 1, Mike Golf Sierra.
Okay, we got two more in there. You guys have made it in time. We got John and Michael. VA3WM. How's it going there, John? We do have a question of the day. We're asking people what their top pet peeve is. What's the most irritating aspect of the amateur radio hobby? Over to you.
Good evening, Gary, and everyone on net. This is John, Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Mike in Niagara. Well, the pet peeve I have is, and I'll preface this by, I try to be a helpful person, especially to new hands to get them started. But what really starts to irk me a lot is when I provide, guidance so you can learn a little bit on your own, put a little effort into it, but the person comes back and says, well, can you just come over and do it all for me? No, you're not learning anything that way, I don't know, maybe it's the millennials that behave in this manner, but that's a pet peeve of mine. Also, I have a question for the net. I was able to All-Star Link into the Techlink conference through the Wales conference? Is there a bridge, an all-star bridge on the ham conference? Back to you.
Okay, the question about how to get in through the ham conference using All-Star, probably best answered by, I'm guessing, John should tackle that. HJQ, if he's still there. Do you want to see if you take a crack at that, John?
Whoops, am I transmitting? Yeah, I wasn't listening. So what was the question, over?
Go ahead with your question again there, VA3WM.
Hi, John. It's John, VA3WM here in Niagara. I was able to connect into the Techlink conference via the Wales conference All-Star Bridge, and the latency in doing it that way is so great it's impossible to get a check in. So I'm wondering, is there an All-Star bridge on the ham conference, and if so, what's the All-Star number?
We have two major All-Star connections, which is the Wales one, 49903, and then the one in New Zealand, which, hang on, I have to look up the number. But the latency is less than half a second, so I don't know what the problem was. All the net connections. Hang on, let me just give you the other All-Star number, which is permanently connected here 24/7. Hang on, I'm firing up Supermod now. Yeah, so the Wales one, 49903, and the New Zealand one, 48820. But yeah, both of them are up in the cloud, so the latency should be less than half a second. So there must have been some other problem there, over.
Okay, I'm just grabbing a piece of paper to write it down. 48820 for the New Zealand one. Just write that down. And yeah, I tried a couple of times, once on the Friday night TechNet and again tonight, to come in through the Wales conference, and I believe that's the 499. I forget the last digits, not on my screen, not in my brain. So, but it did not work, and I could only conclude that the latency was the problem. So I'll try the New Zealand conference next time. Thanks, John, and back to Matt.
Quick one for net control fix it up. We'll give it a try now, because we're permanently moved on to 49903 and 48820. Just swap between both of them while the net continues on and see what the story is now, over.
So let John and Niagara get back to you in a moment there. Let me just finish the last couple check-ins here. Okay, we had VY1MGS. Michael, come on in. Anything new for the net? And did you want to take a crack at question of the day? What's your top pet peeve related to the amateur radio?
Oh, hey Gary, VA3MIS this is Mike, VY1MGS. Thanks for the net and thanks for the opportunity. I just happened upon this net a few times when I was hoping I was catching something, and I happened upon this other net. Thank you very much. Can catch it next time as well. I haven't been a ham operator too long, so having a pet peeve in regards to that, maybe it's a bit early, but in the area I'm at, we like to have a little bit more activity on the RF side up here, but the DMR makes things a lot more interesting. So getting my base station set up, so not a lot of power on other nodes right now, so just It'll help make it interesting. This is VY1MDS, back to you.
Okay there, Michael. Nice to have you catch us here. We're on at 8:30 Eastern Time. I'm not sure what time it is out there in Yukon. Mike's out in the Whitehorse, Yukon. We usually would ask you guys what's the temperature out there, but we've got a bit of a polar vortex here, and even minus 30 Celsius doesn't impress us anymore, so I won't ask. But thank you for joining us there, Michael. Okay, any last check-ins? We're going to wrap it up here. Last call for check-ins on the Tuesday night Mississauga Amateur Radio Club Net.
Hawaii, Shelley, Whiskey Bravo 6, Zulu Yankee Yankee.
Yeah, okay there, Shelley. I see that Reg picked you off there, off the chat. Anyways, glad to have you join us. We're just about to wrap up the net here, but it's not too late. Anything new to share to the group? We have quite an international group here tonight. And the question of the day, if you want to take a crack at it, is what's your top pet peeve related to the amateur radio hobby? Over to you, Shelley.
Well, thank you for calling me out. This is actually my first time on the air. I've been listening. I just got my license in December when I found out that in the States we could get a vanity license. So I was able to get my dad's old call sign. Grew up with him speaking it all the time, so it meant a lot to me, and he's probably up there saying that it's about time, because he tried to get me involved when I was growing up. So I don't have any pet peeves at this point, because this is all new to me. So I'm excited to join you, and thank you for calling me out and actually making me speak. Back to Net Control, WD6ZYY.
Wow, Shelley, delighted to have you. Congratulations. Welcome to the hobby. You've got about a couple dozen people here, too, that would say exactly the same thing to you. And I will also recommend that you try Reg's net on Fridays. It's on this Techlink conference as well. He has people from all over the world, and some newcomers come in, too. So great to have you. Yeah, everybody seems very happy tonight. So that's my conclusion, is that we have a bunch of happy campers here. We're going to have what's the best thing about ham radio night in the future. Anyways, I'm going to close it up here, and if the two Johns want to stay and talk to each other, see if they can get in through All-Star into this, that would be interesting. I'd like to hear about that later on. But I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have any comments, thoughts, or suggestions, you can contact us for club matters at VE3MIS@RAC.ca. That's Victor Echo 3, Mike India Sierra at Romeo Alpha Charlie Alpha. Or provide some feedback or suggestions for me. You can use my email address, which is on my QRZ page. This is Gary, Victor Alpha 3, Golf Delta Zulu, closing the net and returning the repeater to general use. Thank you all for your participation. The net will stay open for a little while, and if the two Johns want to connect, they can go ahead now. And Shelley, don't be a stranger. Welcome to the hobby.
VA3PL change. Should I take it at check-in?
Stand by there, Jason, for just a moment. I still have the list here, VA3PLJ. We're just wrapping up. The question of the day, do you have any pet peeves related to the hobby, Jason? I know you've been trying some new things recently, but is there anything that bugs you or irritates you about the ham radio hobby? Go ahead.
Hello, Gary, to everybody on frequency. I don't have any presently, but we have 10 minutes from now to ask you for that. But no, not right now. But yes, I've got a few things on the go I would like to look into. As you know, I set to have a QRP HF rig, and when things warm up, of course, I would like to try and do a little bit of field work with it, and that's one of the very few things, one of the many things I would like to get into more on. But anyway, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Yeah, okay, Jason, I added you to the list. We've had a couple dozen people come in tonight with lots of ideas. Most people love this hobby. Few complaints about licensing, about spammers or people who come in who might not be licensed and things like that. But people love this hobby. That's my conclusion I got out of it tonight. So it was kind of fun. And thanks for joining us and adding your name to the list, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you later. Yeah, there's a lot of other aspects of this hobby to explore, and COVID is getting in the way because we can't get together in person or at Hamfest or field days. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to that sometime. Right now, the counts are still not good. We're hoping it'll all pass by springtime, but we'll see. Anyways, thanks for joining us. The net's closed. And if anybody wants to communicate while it's still open, they can go ahead now. This is VE3 Golf Delta Zulu going QRT.